Hello, and welcome to Presence Practice with Poonen and Parker. Hello, everybody, and welcome. The topic today is fitting in or longing to belong. Most of the time when this is happening, I can't say all the time because of the dynamic of so many different stories and different variations of paths. But the desire, this desire, which kind of keeps us in these karmic cycles that you were talking about earlier, Poonen, and this desire to fit in is really a desire to come home, to be at peace and whole, but also not separate from anybody, right? Our stories and paths are not superior or inferior to others. We don't need to understand another person's story and to see how it fits with us. We don't need to relate to them. We can leave people and situations alone. We could do that. It means no judging, no dialogue about perceptions, just allowing people to be. So if we're feeling misunderstood or exhausted in social situations because we've been role playing because we need to fit in, right? That's a lot of suffering. And so now we meet our spiritual community and we could do the same thing. Do I fit in here? Is this where I'm home? So we have these different groups they're always changing. I would love to know what the groups were, and I'm sure somebody here knows about the groups that were set up in like Roman times and other times when they had plenty and they were still suffering, and then this against them. But there's so many different groups. You go to prison, they make groups. You go to school and they make groups. And the quality of the groups is always a manifestation of what's absent in the culture that supports it. So it may be broken homes and poverty, which bring gangs, or there are people that cling to groups inside of schools as a healthy, because it's seen as healthy now. The music group, belong to band, right? And it's going to get me out of these circumstances finally, and then I'm going to go to school and make lots of money and I'm not going to suffer anymore. But that's not the answer either. So the fitting in it feels very much like just mental noise of feeling sort of maybe outside, not feeling understood, or not being able to express yourself well, or or feeling like we have a condition that other people aren't going to understand, and so that's important. Now you can drop all of that and then sit still and see who magnetizes towards you, who just leaves you alone. Not going to enhance your image, is not going to confirm your inferiority nor your superiority. Just leave it alone and draw these people. There's so many out there now, and it's not important what you have in common. There are plenty of endings to things with people who have met the people that were also interested in the same hobbies, or so we can be anywhere. We can fit in anywhere, because there's no human being alive that doesn't enjoy a silent human being, spacious on the inside, leaving them alone. We get there by leaving ourselves alone. So when we see the tiny voice that needs some, that's doing this to us, let's not bring in another tiny voice to beat that voice up. We can just drop it, see it, and drop it. And that nourishment of ourselves, breath work, when we bring in gratitude and unconditional love, feels like grace. We bring that in and then it flows out into the world. Nice thing, huh, Puna? Yeah. It's why so many people love their pets and their dogs, and they're doing, it. There's a meme about this, or a joke about how the cat, like, will clean up their kitty litter box, right? We'll get them expensive things, and we'll spend, this thing that people are fighting in the streets for money, dying and killing and needing this thing on the streets, but people in their homes will sacrifice so much for this little being that they have to take care of, and willingly do it to have this little being that just leaves them alone and says, I love you so much, no matter what. I'm here. I don't care if you have a home or you don't have a home, if we have enough to eat, if we don't have enough to eat, right? Most of the time, even you don't have to be even nice to them. Even dogs that have been abused still somehow want to love on. Yeah, so really, really a great example of how we can offer that spaciousness, which isn't for, we're not slipping below thinking. We're just at peace in the present moment. So we can ask right now, can we stop the mind chatter just right now? That's all we need to do. Very simple. So that's it. You do fit in everywhere. These stories don't need to be understood by anybody else. Is that it?
I think, excuse me, Eckhart says somewhere in The Power of Now, when the ego dies, the ego gets what it wanted when the ego dies. So when we are in as a field, when we move around as a field of presence and give that spaciousness, right? Other humans just love being around a human that is spacious. Like, I'm positive Eckhart does not go to social events and talks incessantly. I'm sure he just sits around and listens a lot, right? So that's a really good example that what we need to do is just sit around and offer our spaciousness. That's what the other human is wanting, is that I approve of you, I appreciate you, I'm here for you. That's all that other human wants. That's what the social situation is about, right? The more we can be, sit back and be that spaciousness and offer them that spaciousness, then the human being feels they're being appreciated. And that's all that was needed in that interaction, is that appreciation.
Yes, I love that view. And when we're in that space, when we're in a space and we're in a social situation, I do hear people talk about feeling socially awkward, or and that's why people are drinking. It seems to quiet their mind for a moment, and then you get to a point where it can go too far, and and then we're off, and but it kind of feels like it helps people shed some of their role playing, right, or some of their competing and comparing. And sometimes people that feel like they're socially awkward, they just want authentic dialogue. And I just want to add one more thing to what you were saying, Poonam, is that by offering spaciousness, the mind won't, if you're been mind dominated, your mind has been chewing, please stop and put your attention on the space around your body and inside your belly. And then the mind cannot manufacture spaciousness. It will start saying, how can I make spaciousness? I should be doing spaciousness for this person, but I'm really judging their ugly sneakers, right? Or something. Or I'm seeing the quality of how they're talking, or they're seeing their unconsciousness, or right. You're like still a big energy drain, only now you're partly aware of it. So put your attention on that partial awareness that can see it, and bring your attention back into your body, because your spaciousness is the absence of thought, right? It's not like some aura you're going to cast over the situation. It's the stillness of our mind. And if we can practice outside of social events where it's very simple to do it, then that's like a rubber band that gets stretched, and it doesn't go back here all the way. I've never known it to can be completely closed off again. People can get to a point where they're just eternally seeking on the path and not finding, right? Being back to the clever stage and conceptual stage, but never ever back asleep, right? So thank you, Poonam.
Thank you, Parker.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.